Hey everybody, I'm John Marchando. I've been going to the journey for about the past 6 years with my wife, Becky, who most people know. Everybody knows me as Becky's husband, John. But had an episode that came about almost a year ago now, in June of last year, where I went to a company event in Las Vegas, and I'm living proof that what happens in Vegas does not stay there, because I came back with something, most likely a strep infection that went into my bloodstream. Later that week, I was feeling weak, had a hard time breathing while I was laying down, so I drove to urgent care, and urgent care said, "You are way too sick to be here. You need to be in the hospital." So they stuck me in an ambulance, ran me across the parking lot to the ER, and admitted me into the hospital. Becky and my daughter and my son arrived shortly thereafter to watch me go under and be put on a ventilator. So about a month and a half later, I woke up in the hospital, not understanding what was really going on, but thanking God that I had lived through a pretty crazy episode. I ended up losing over 60 pounds. So I was about 180 when I went in, and 114 when I came to, which is just scary. That was like 7th grade weight for me. Not my recommended method of weight loss, I can say firsthand, but things like sepsis and septic shock set in. I had kidney and liver failure. I had bilateral pneumonia, which is a pneumonia in both lungs. So needless to say, I was a pretty sick dude. And God's hand was in this every step of the way. You can see it from me driving myself to urgent care. And if you know me, you know I'm not a big fan of going to the doctor. So the fact that I drove myself was his hand. They told me that if I had not done that, I most likely would not have lived that through the night, because I wasn't getting enough oxygen into my bloodstream because of the bilateral pneumonia. And this is making me a little emotional even talking about it now a year later. But God's hand was there. When I was in the hospital, I was on a ventilator for 19 days, in a coma for 21. If you know the process, typically they put you on a tracheotomy after about 10 days. And God's hand again was involved. The respiratory therapist that was working with us told the doctors, "Hey, let's see what happens. He's starting to improve. Let's wait." And here I am, living proof that there's no tracheotomy scar. I had liver and kidney failure, so I was on continuous dialysis. A good friend of mine that's a doctor told us that we don't see too many people come off continuous dialysis and survive. And here I am. So, and they told me that you need to have 3 things to survive something like I went through. You need to have a strong faith, which we have, and my wife is a living example of that. She never lost faith. You also need to have a strong family. We have that. And you also have to have a will to get out of there, which I definitely had once I got into rehab. So, those things coupled together really shows the proof that, God was involved in this process the whole entire time. So, I still have things that don't work right. I don't know that I'll ever be 100%, but I can say that I'm thankful and blessed to be alive. One thing I need to make sure that I do is thank my wife and my son for being with me for 6 weeks. My son took 6 weeks off work, and my wife just left everything behind and moved into a small apartment/hotel that was attached to the hospital in Grand Rapids. So I can't say enough great things about that and their commitment to me. And my daughters were there when they could be, but they had families to take care of on their own. So love you guys, and I want to make sure and share that. I have a newfound appreciation for what nurses, doctors, and therapists do in a hospital and a rehab environment. I can't tell you how much a positive attitude that those people push on you can improve your outlook on whatever's going on that day, whatever's going on that week, or whatever's going on that minute. Because I had to learn how to walk again, use my hands again, and if they had not been positive throughout that whole experience, it would have been much more difficult. So a huge shout out to the healthcare community for what they do. My experience in the hospital, going through this whole ordeal just really shows me the power of the Holy Spirit. It makes me more positive, It keeps me a little bit more grounded and a lot more appreciative of family, friends, and some of the things that are in my life that I don't always think about and I take for granted. So it's made me a lot more appreciative and aware of those things. I even got this new tattoo which says "Believe," which is representative of my faith and my belief in the Holy Spirit and the fact that He got me through this ordeal.